Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Let's sing together. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Shrivatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Yudendasto Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suhritsatam Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Thank you very much for joining today's Bhagavatam class, dear devotees. Today we'll be reading Canto 1, Chapter 14, verse 38. Shall we start? Yadpahadandabhyudayuno jivino Yadpahadandabhyudayuno jivino Yadu pravirahya kuto bhayamuhu
Yadu Pravirahi Kuto
Adhikramanti angribir arhatam balat
Adhikramanti Angrivir Aritam Padat
Sabham sudharmam surasattamochitam
Sarvam Sudharvam Surasatyamochitam
Yadbahudandabhyudayuno jivino
Yadbahudanda Vyuya
Yadu pravirahya kuto bhayamuhu
Yadu Praviraya Kuto Bhayam
Adhikramanti angribir ahritam balat
Adhikramanti Aritam Padat
Sabham sudharmam surasattamochitam
Sarvam Sudharvam Surasatyamochitam
Yadbahudandabhyudayuno jivino
Yadbahudanda Vyuya
Yadu pravirahya kuto bhayamuhu
Yadu Praviraya Kuto Bhayam
Adhikramanti angribir ahritam balat
Adhikramantyam Vrivirahitam Balat
Sabham sudharmam surasattamochitam.
Sarvam Sudharmam Surasatyamochitam
Word to word translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
word to word. Yat,
Yad
whose,
Whose
Bahudanda,
Bahudanda
arms,
Arms
Abhyudaya,
Abhyudaya
influenced by,
Influenced by
Anujivinaha,
Anujivinaha
always living,
Always living
Yadu,
Yadu
the members of the Yadu dynasty,
The members of the Hindu dynasty
Praviraha,
Praviraha
great heroes,
Great heroes
Hi Akutobhaya,
Fearless
fearless in every respect,
in every respect
Muhuhu,
Muhu
constantly,
Constantly
Adhikramanti,
Adhikramanti
traversing,
Traversing
Angribihi,
Angrivihi
by foot,
By foot
Ahritam,
Ahritam
brought about,
Brought about
Balat,
Balat
by force,
By force
Sabham,
Sabham
assembly house,
Assembly House
Sudharmam,
Sudharma
Sudharma,
Sudharma
Surasattama,
Surasattama
the best among the demigods,
The best among the demigods
Uchitam,
Uchitam
deserving.
Deserving
Translation: the great heroes of the Yadu dynasty, being protected by the arms of Lord Sri Krishna, always remain fearless in every respect, and therefore their feet trample over the Sudharma assembly house, which the best demigods deserve, but which was taken away from them. Purport: those who are directly servitors of the Lord are protected by the Lord from all fearfulness, and they also enjoy the best of things, even if they are forcibly accumulated. The Lord is equal in behavior to all living beings, but he is partial to his pure devotees, being very affectionate toward them. The city of Dwaraka was flourishing, being enriched with the best of things in the material world. The state assembly house is constructed according to the dignity of the particular state. In the heavenly planets, the state assembly house called Sudharma was deserving of the dignity of the best of the demigods. Such an assembly house is never meant for any state on the globe because the human being on earth is unable to construct it. However, for a particular state may be materially advanced, but during the time of Lord Krishna's presence on the earth, the members of the Yadu family forcibly brought the celestial assembly house to earth and placed it at Dwarka. They were able to use such force because they were certain of the indulgence and protection of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. In other words, the Lord is provided with the best things in the universe by his pure devotees. Lord Sri Krishna was provided with all kinds of comforts and facilities available within the universe by the members of the Yadu dynasty, and in return, such servitors of the Lord were protected and fearless. A forgetful, conditioned soul is fearful, but a liberated soul is never fearful. Just as a small child, completely dependent on the mercy of his father, is never fearful of anyone. Fearfulness is a sort of illusion for the living being when he is in slumber and forgetting his eternal relation with the Lord. Since the living being is never to die by his constitution, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 2:20, then what is the cause of fearfulness? A person may be fearful of a tiger in a dream, but another man who is awake by his side sees no tiger there. The tiger is a myth for both of them, namely the person dreaming and the person awake, because actually there is no tiger. But the man forgetful of his awakened life is fearful, whereas the man who has not forgotten his position is not at all fearful. Thus, the members of the Yadu dynasty were fully awake in their service to the Lord, and therefore there was no tiger for them to be afraid of at any time. Even if there were a real tiger, the Lord was there to protect them. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Krishna, dear devotees, thank you for joining today's Bhagavatam class. Please offer a prayer that may the right words come at the right time in the glorification of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In today's verse, we will be delving into a theme that Prabhupada talks about, and that is fearlessness and the protection of the Lord. So when Prabhupada used to travel by Rolls Royce and some fancy cars, the journalists would take fun in asking, unnecessary questions. They would ask, "You are a saint who is very detached. Why do you have to travel in a fancy car?" So that time Prabhupada would tell them an honest answer. If a person is a servant of the greatest master, then the greatest master will bestow upon them riches with which they can continue to serve them. So along similar lines, what happens here is the Yadu assembly, they bring the Sudharma house from the heavenly abode to Dwaraka, and then there Krishna as the king rules over all of them. So this is to say that anything can be dovetailed in the Lord's service if it's done with the right mood and right attitude, and the Lord will actually protect. And here it says indulgence. So they were fearless because of the indulgence of the Supreme Lord. The exact word is okay. Maybe I just missed the word, but okay. So it is said because of the indulgence of the Supreme Lord, they indulgence and the protection of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, they were never afraid, or they were always fearless in that regard. But actually, if we see Krishna's plan, and anytime a problem comes upon someone uh, who's not yet an advanced devotee, the first reaction to that problem is fear. It could be fear of death, it could be fear of possessions, it could be many different fears. The fears could also be among the four things that humankind tries to possess, that's eating, sleeping, mating, defending. If any one of these four categories are in danger, then it gives some, some person fear because they may lose something that they cherish. So it is said dharma, artha, kama, moksha. If there is a problem in any one of these four regards, then fear is introduced in a person who does not yet have the discrimination. So one thing that really stands out in this purport is the fact that if we demand Krishna's protection on our own terms, then we fail to receive the protection on his terms. And who is the best planner in this world? The one who can see our past, who knows our present, and who knows what is best for us in our future. He's the best planner among all. So if we want Krishna to protect us on our demand, like maybe it could be financially, it could be protection in terms of family members' death, it could be so many different things. If we demand Krishna's protection on our merit, then we miss out the opportunity to receive the protection on his merit, what he thinks is best for us. So toward this, there are many ways in which Krishna's protection can be sought. We see in the Bhagavatam there is the Narayan Kavach, then there is the Narsimha Kavach, that is also, that the Mayapur temple the Narsimha temple in Mayapur, they generally perform Narsimha Kavach for devotees who make donations. And there are many other ways in which the Lord's protection can be sought. But one of the you could say lakshana of sharanagati or surrender is to always believe that the Lord knows what I need and he's my only protector. And that is how even Uttara would call out to the Lord. So today we will look at protection and how to receive the Lord's protection, how to call out to him for that protection, and how to remain fearless, and what is the greatest problem that is plaguing all of us, and that is mentioned in today's purport. So, just to give a TLDR, the whole thing, the greatest problem is our forgetfulness of Krishna. And that forgetfulness can only be mended by attention or giving our full absorption to Krishna. In the AI research literature, there is a very famous paper called Attention is All You Need. Actually, attention is, if you do not have attention, it is already namaparad. It is one of the offenses to the holy name. But if we have attention and deep absorption, then we will automatically receive the mercy and the protection of Sri Krishna because he is available in his name itself. Now, we see Lord Ram, he proclaims it's probably the most famous verse in the Ramayana where he says, Sakradeva prapannoyas tavasmiti cha yachate abhayam sarvabhutebhyo dadami etat vratam mama. He says, anyone who's taken the shelter of my lotus feet or my feet, abhayam sarvabhutebhyo, those living entities will be abhayam, they will not have any fear. And that is his vachan, his promise. Krishna may make a promise and he may break it. So he tells Arjuna, you proclaim, I will keep your promise. I'll keep all my devotees' promise. So he says, what is it in 931 Prabhu? Kaunteya prati janihi, na me bhaktya pranashyati. So Krishna tells you devotees to tell, and Lord Ram himself tells, abhayam sarvabhutebhyo. And these does not mean that one would go against the laws that are there and then they would get something for Krishna which is against the material laws, and as a result demand service from Krishna. So if we are going against the rules and doing something probably illegal, like some of Prabhupada's earlier disciples, they were thinking that if they continued a little bit more in their habit of dealing drugs, then they can get more Lakshmi and they can give it to Krishna. They thought that's a possible means. We can dovetail something like drug dealing in Krishna's service. So Prabhupada was clear in setting the standard that we must do it the right way, even if it is hard. We must do it according to dharma, because if we do not follow dharma, then we are requesting service from Krishna. Krishna, I will do this illegally. You please protect me. That is not how protection is sought. So in the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, there are so many ways the devotees pray, and that is actually Vandanam, which Jiva Goswami, in his Sandarbhas, he mentions that among the Navavira Bhakti, that is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam, and Vandanam. These are the 9. I think I missed one. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Sakhyam, Dasyam,
Archana.
Archana. Among all of these 9, there are only 2 that can be done at any point of time. So if you see Shravanam, you need another devotee by your side for Shravanam. Kirtanam is one thing that you can do on your own. You can chant, you can sing a kirtan. Then Vishnu Smarana, this is actually very, very difficult because only if Krishna wishes, he is the one who gives us remembrance and forgetfulness. Only if he wishes, at the time of death, we can remember us. So it doesn't depend on us completely. We can falsely have the image of Krishna and always keep looking at it, but that is not Smarana. That's just some physical darshanam. The real darshanam is in the eye of the mind, in the heart. It says Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. They're able to see through the eyes of love in their heart. That is real darshanam. So Vishnu Smaranam is also out of the picture. Then Archanam, you need to be an initiated Brahman and you need to follow all of the different processes. And maybe during old age, it might not be possible or feasible to do the entire Archana process. We see when His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, there was a video where even in his sleeping state, he was doing Archana for the Lord. But that doesn't mean everybody would have that opportunity to be doing Archana until the time of death. Then Dasyam is very difficult. That also, you need to keep doing so many services. You see Prabhu 24/7, full time. Prabhu, he's doing many jobs, so there'll always be some intermittence in that. So Dasyam, Sakyam is out of the question. You need to be Sakya to the Lord. That is only after you receive spiritual body. Atmanivedanam, like Bali Maharaj, is it possible for everyone? No. So the only other thing, Dasyam, Pada Sevanam is also, you need a spiritual body to do Pada Sevanam directly to the Lord. You can do Pada Sevanam for Guru and everyone else who are here to facilitate your progress. But to do Pada Sevanam for the Lord requires you to go to the spiritual abode, or at least have a synthetic or spiritual body. So there are only 2 that can be done at any point of time. That is Vandanam and Kirtanam. And Vandanam is actually very important because Vandanam tells or manifests all of your emotions to the Lord into words that can be expressed. And Kirtanam or Japa invokes the Lord to come and please fulfill this prayer that we have. So that day when Vaishishka Maharaj was here, Satya Sankal Prabhu asked a very pertinent question. How do we stop our entire process to going into Niyamagraha or just following for the rules' sake? So that time Maharaj mentioned a very interesting and beautiful point that when we meditate deeper on, we'll get even deeper truths out of. He said, try to understand the meaning of every prayer that you're offering. And it may seem like a simple thing, but the reason Maharaj said it, at least what I try to, when I try to meditate on that, was when you go deeper, you realize the actual depth of that prayer and in what mood and in what way that prayer was made. So if you see in the morning when we sing the Guru Ashtakam, there is, after the 8 verses, there is the Falashruti or the 9th verse. Does anybody remember what the Falashruti is? Even in English, anything, if you remember what the Falashruti is. Because that tells us why we need to chant the Guru Ashtakam in the during Brahma Muhurta.
If one attends the Mangalarti or the Guru Ashtam every day, early morning, then at the end of one's life, one goes back to God.
Perfect. So almost perfect. So the exact thing, it says, Srimad Guru Ashtakam Etad Uchchaihi. So to sing the Guru Ashtakam, Brahma Muhurte Prayatna. It says if you make a sincere attempt to chant the Guru Ashtakam, then it says Sakshat Vrindavan Nath Sevaiva. It says you will get Sakshat immediate service to the Vrindavan Nath. Who's Vrindavan Nath? Sri Krishna. How do you get Sakshat direct service to him? That means you will get Siddha Deha. That means you're this life, after this life, what happens? It says Anta Eva. It says Janusha Anta Eva. It says this as a human Janma that you've taken. Immediately after this, you will get Siddha Deha and immediately you will do Vrindavan Nath's service directly. So that means whatever prayer we are offering, if we really understand the mood in which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wrote it and the way we need to narrate it, and then what the Falashruti is, then we'll actually give it our every heart in understanding what that mood is, and slowly we'll develop that mood when we are singing it. So in the material world, there is a thing called fake it till you make it. So it's similar to well, not exactly similar, but as you keep as you keep doing it sincerely, Krishna will give you the the way to express your prayers. Dhruva Maharaj was 5 years old. He didn't know any Sanskrit. But the Lord just put his conch shell on his head, and then immediately such elaborate Sanskrit prayers were coming out of his mouth. That's because the Lord knows that if a devotee has some love for him in the heart, it just needs a little help, and then the real truth of that will come out through the mouth. So Radha Govind Maharaj, towards that regard, he says, uh, the main reason we can also sing Gajendra Stuti, Gajendra Moksha. It says, what is that? Madrik Prapanna Pashupasha Vimokshanaya. We can also sing all of the prayers of Gajendra. But when we call is Krishna coming, is so when Gajendra offered the lotus flower, says Shanka, Pushpa, Gada, Padma. And the Sri Vaishnav Acharya say that the Padma was actually the Padma that Gajendra gave. Before that, Krishna didn't have Sri Vishnu didn't have Padma. It is only the Padma that Gajendra gave with his pure surrender. That is what he is holding in his hand. They're saying. And then the Acharyas also say that when Gajendra called, when he says Madrik Prapanno Pashupasha Vimokshanaya, when he said that, the Supreme Lord, he didn't even wait for Garuda. He immediately started to come to protect Gajendra, and then Garuda was following behind. Oh Lord, wait, even I'm coming. So in the sense, he was much faster than Garuda because he wanted to go quickly to meet Gajendra and then to liberate him. But when we call, does Krishna come like that? If I were to say call, so I never happened, right? That's because I'm speaking from the lips. It's not coming from the heart. I have no feeling when I'm speaking. So that is the real depth that we must develop. The real problem, as Kunti Devi says, she says, Vipada Santuta Shashwat Tatra Tatra Jagadguru. Then, what is that true?
Dojo.
Bhavato Darshanam Yatsyat Apunarbhava Darshanam. So the real problem that Kunti Devi is talking about there is not that she wants problems or some sadistic thing that give me problems, nihilistic tendencies. It's okay, I will be stoic. Nothing like that. All she wants is she wants the remembrance and the darshan of the Lord. And the Lord is also very, you could say, somewhat cruel in the sense when they needed protection in other times, he gave. He protected Bhimsen, he protected the Pandavas from the Vanvas. And actually, just the previous verse to that, it says, Vishan Mahagne, Purushata Darshanam, all of the different ways, the Lac Palace, and so many different things when Krishna protected, he gave them hope that he will keep protecting them and he will not, throw them under the bus and leave. But now, suddenly he's throwing them all under the bus. He's saying, I'm leaving, okay, bye, and he's going away. And that breaks their heart. So if you see all of the Gopi Geet, they keep telling all of the things Krishna has done for them, and now suddenly he's leaving. So the real problem that we all face is having material desires which prevents us from remembering or going deeper and having the deep absorption in Krishna. So Kadambakannan Swami Maharaj has that book, A Prayer for Deep Absorption. So in that book that is there in the bookshelf, Maharaj tells that the real issue in this world is that we are unable to have deep absorption for the Lord, because of which we are easily distracted by everything Maya Devi shows us. As a result, all of our attention is many branched, but all we need is attention to the Lord. If we bring that many branched attention to the Lord and deeply absorb ourselves, then we become patra, or we become the vessel for the Lord's mercy, to receive the Lord's mercy and also distribute it among everybody else. So we will look quickly at some of the ways in which the Lord protects. So we may think that the Lord will protect physically, but actually the Lord protects spiritually. So if you see the three main devotees in the Srimad Bhagavatam who clearly were not protected physically. So we look at when the Lord protects physically, when the Lord does not protect physically, and when the Lord protects spiritually, and we'll see what is the common thread. So first is the Lord protecting physically. So we see. Do you have any examples where the Lord comes to protect? The devotee calls out and the Lord comes to protect. Anyone, Draupadi, Gajendra. So many things. So actually, Draupadi is such a great example because it shows what kind of surrender is actually required. So Draupadi knew that Goptritva Varnam Tatha Avishya Rakshibe Vishwasapal. She knew Goptritva, that only Krishna can help. And then Avashya Rakshibe, he will help. So I don't have to depend too much. But when she was put in that assembly, she first started to look at her husbands and hope that they would come. When Dushasan called her and Duryodhana was sitting on the throne and then throwing his thigh and said, "Come, sit here, Draupadi." That time, all the Pandavas, their blood was boiling, especially Bhim. And if you actually see, Duryodhana did this on his thigh, and Bhim killed him in that same thigh. That is the only region where Mother Gandhari's vision never fell. And so that was exactly where he was killed also. So you see, karma comes back like that. But when Draupadi was in that single cloth and she was brought to the assembly, her first recourse was to her husbands, who are her actual protectors. And then they never did anything. And then what was the next? Next was she asked to the elders, Kuru elders. She said, "Is this dharma? This is supposed to be the court where dharma is protected. But here I am, a helpless lady, calling out to help, asking for the truth, and yet no one is coming for my help." So she's calling out. Bhishma Dev looked down. He never said anything. And that hurt Draupadi even more. That Bhishma Dev, the one everybody looks up to, the eldest in the Kuru assembly, the protector of the entire Yadu dynasty, even he is not, coming and protecting her. That hurt her. She looked at all of the other sages present there. There were so many, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, so many other sages were there. None of them came. They're wearing saffron, but they're not coming to help. A lady asking for help. So she still didn't give up hope. And Duryodhana is telling Dushasan, "You pull the sari. We are going to perform we're going to remove the cloth." And then now she holds the sari with her teeth. Generally, in times of danger, the teeth actually comes, the jaw, actually there's some scientific research that under extreme stress, the jaw becomes extremely strong in order to fight away and protect. In that sense, she held on to her sari with her teeth to prevent Dushasan from taking it. But then she's actually a feeble, little fragile lady. And Dushasan, he was, you could say, 24/7 fitness. He's like a built bodybuilder, and he was able to pull the sari out. Then it said that in the times of such extreme danger, Anya Abhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Dhyanapatam Anukulina Krishnanu Shrilam Bhakti Uttama. It says Anya Abhilashita. So I think we heard in the previous class by Haripashit Prabhu as well. When it said Anya Abhilasha, it means having no other desires. Anya Abhilashita, the Shita suffix means that having no other desires except during emergency circumstances. During emergency circumstances, a devotee has the right to seek protection from Krishna. Because who else will he seek protection from other than Krishna? Uttara said, "Pahi pahi mahayogin deva deva jagatpate. Nanyam tvat abhayam pashyet. Nanyam na anyam. Other than you, who will remove my fearfulness? Nanyam tvat abhayam pashyet. I'm seeing fear. Abhayam, who can make me abhayam? Nanyam tvat. Other than you, there is nobody else. So it is allowed to ask protection in times of need. And what did Draupadi do after that? So it is said that when you are in times of need, you can seek protection from the Lord, or you can look at two things: one who is merciful and one who is your guru. You can ask them for protection. So, what is mercy called in Sanskrit? It's kripa, and guru is also acharya. So she thought, let me ask Kripacharya. Kripacharya is guru and he is merciful. That's why his name is Kripacharya. And so she looked at Kripacharya and she bowed her hands. And Kripacharya he didn't say a word. He did one action, and that one action gave Draupadi the clue that took Arjuna 700 verses to realize. So Kripacharya just pointed upwards. And Arjuna had to hear 700 verses to understand that same thing. Then Draupadi put her hands up in the air. And then actually Draupadi's other name is Krishna, like with the extended A. So it is said, Krishna tada akrocha ananyanatha. Akrocha is she called out that at that time. Krishna tada akrocha ananyanatha. Ananyanath is the Lord of the Lord. Yeah, who has like infinite forms. Ananya Natha. And then what did she say? Govinda Dwarkavasi Krishna Gopi Janapriya. That's what she called out. She said, Govinda Dwarkavasi Krishna Gopi Krishna Gopi Janapriya. And she called out in that way. And then did the Lord come? Did the Lord come or not?
Sorry.
So later, after this, when Krishna comes to the forest, when they are there after the gambling match, she asks Krishna, "I called you, but you never came." She very angrily asks him, and then Krishna told, you only told Krishna, Govinda, then Dwarka Vasim. So I first had to go to Dwarka, and then only I could come." So that is a problem, right? So Krishna keeps his devotee's promise. So how he kept the promise? When she said Govinda Dwarka Vasim, Krishna Gopi Janapriya. So she said, first you told Govinda, okay. If you had not said Dwarka Vasim, I would have come directly. But you said Dwarka Vasim. So I went to Dwarka and then I came to the Kurus. And so, but that's just like out of joke when you're making a joke with friends. But all the acharyas say that he came as Keshavadhrita Vastra Sharira. He came as cloth. He came in the body of the cloth. And when you say, I thought Anant Chaitanya Prabhu might be here, but the word Ananta means infinite. There is no end. And the acharyas actually, I think it is Parashar Bhattacharya, he says in his commentary that Ananta means infinite, without any end. And the Lord showed that he has infinite love for his devotee by coming as infinite sari. Dushasan is pulling and pulling, and Duryodhana is scolding him. You are my best fighter. You can't even pull a sari out of a woman. And he's insulting him, spitting at him in the assembly. And Dushasan is pulling and pulling and pulling. He's sweating, and then there's so much cloud. And then finally, they see that it is actually the mercy of Krishna that came as Keshava Dhrita Vastra Sharira, Jaya Jagadisha Hare. He came as Vastra Sharira. And as a result, that infinite cloth is supposed to show the infinite love that Krishna has for all of us. And there's actually several interesting things. Maybe a few things that we will look at is in the Padyavali, there are many verses, and I think Dravida Prabhu also quotes them a lot. There are many verses that say, in the last line of the verse is, "May this Krishna protect you. May this smile of Krishna protect you. May this anger of Krishna protect you. May this excitement of Krishna protect you." And the reason they say these words is because that verse is supposed to be a short, sweet pastime that we should try to meditate on deeply, and then it can come to us when we need it the most, and that is at the time of death. I remember Vijay Prabhu, I think last year, no, so earlier this year, when Prabhu had given the Japa talk, spoke about the pastime where Krishna plants the pearls. And then Prabhu said that when we are chanting Japa, we should try to meditate on this. This is a medium for us to meditate on the Lord through a sweet pastime. So there is a very sweet pastime that I would like. It's just one verse from Padyavali. And this is, okay, the verse goes like this. It says, Pankhabhishikta sakala vayavam vilokya damodaram vadati kopavashad yashoda त्वां सुकरोसि कथ जन्मनि पूतनारे iti ukta susmita mukho vatuno murare. So this verse is actually a little bit fun in the sense. What happens is Mother Yashoda dresses up Krishna. She does dhoop, gandh, naivedya, and then she puts all the jewels, archanam, everything for Krishna, and then tells Krishna, "You can go play with your Gopa friends." And Krishna just steps out of the house. And the first thing he does is he removes all of the makeup that Mother Yashoda will put with so much difficulty and meticulousness. He removes everything. Then he sees the ground. He takes and he puts on his body. Then he puts on his full face. Then he rolls on the mud. Everything that Mother Yashoda did, gone. Then she goes in front. He doesn't like try to clean and then go in front of Mother Yashoda. Oh, I fell down while playing or something. He put more on his head, and then he goes and stand. He directly went in front of Mother Yashoda, holding some mud. So maybe if some mud falls down, I'll put more to see I'm muddy. He stands in front of Mother Yashoda. Then it says Damodaram Vadati Kopa Vashat Yashoda. She said Damodar kopa, full of anger, Mother Yashoda says, Tvam sukarosi kata janmani putanare. So the running joke in the Nanda Maharaj household is when Putana was killed, uh, everyone thought that it is the supreme mercy of Lord Vishnu that Putana was killed. And they were praying, they were thanking Lord Vishnu that thank you for protecting our son from this demon as Putana. But Krishna, he wanted the credit for himself. He wanted to say, I killed Putana, nobody else killed. That's why they jokingly call him Putanare. So when we say Murare, he is one who killed Muradi. So Putanare means one who killed Putana. And it is actually the family members call him jokingly. Like sometimes we may say, "Oh, you're such a big boy." We may say like that to some small child, right? So like that they call, "Oh, Putanare," but they know inside that it is Vishnu. That's what they think. And Krishna assumes that okay, they're calling me Putana, okay. But she says, "Tvam sukarosi, are you a pig in your? Were you a pig in your past life?" That's how Mother Yashoda scolds him. Tvam sukarosi kata janmani. In your previous life, were you a pig? You're in this muddy condition. And then Krishna actually he smiles. He says, "Look at my mother. Even in her anger, she's speaking Tattva Siddhanta. Yes. Who was he in the previous life? As pig Varahadev. Yes, my mother, she's even in anger, she's speaking the truth. Look at that. And then Krishna smiles. And then the author says, this smile of Krishna will protect us. May this smile of Krishna protect us. So, what exactly does the author mean here? The author means that when Krishna smiled, he smiled because the love of Mother Yashoda was shown, even Vatsalya Bhava was shown, even though she was angry. And this means we should also absorb ourselves completely in the Lord in whatever we do. Because as I was beginning the class with, the greatest problem is we don't have that. Our absorption in Krishna is interrupted by so many distractions, as Karmakananda Maharaj said. And that is the greatest flaw or greatest mistake in our current life. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, we see Chitraketu Maharaj, we see Gajendra, and we see Jad Bharat, and we see Gajendra, Jad Bharat, and who else?
Ajahn?
No, not Acharya. Chitraketu Maharaj was
Prithras?
Vritrasura, yes, sorry. So we see in these three cases, we see in the case of Chitraketu Maharaj, we see in the case of Bharat Maharaj, and we see in the case of Indradumna Maharaj. All of them very opulent. They have kingly duties. They have all the opulence, royal opulence, everything anybody could hope for. And they also had devotion for the Lord. Indradumna Maharaj, Chitraketu Maharaj, and then also Bharat Maharaj. All of them had that much devotion for the Lord. But when they needed it the most, at the time of death, the Lord never came for them. He didn't give his smaranam to them. Then how can we have belief that the Lord will protect us? To such great devotees, the Lord never came. And in their next life, they were born as animal, demon, deer, elephant, and demon. Then how can we have protection? How can we think if these great devotees, they are also not getting, completing their material life in one lifetime? How can we hope for it? What hope do we have? So the Srimad Bhagavatam. So then the acharyas and commentators give context to what is actually happening here. So what is happening is the Lord is, you could say in a way, it's a non-answer that the Lord is using them as an example to show us something. But actually, the Lord is showing that even if they falter, their material life may deteriorate, but their spiritual life is still kept. When Bharat Maharaj was, when he became a deer, he still kept that spiritual progress. And he maintained his distance closer to the sages' ashrams, and he used to graze there so that he could hear the yagya and all the pravachan that the speakers are giving, so that he uh, fulfills whatever he needs to in that lifetime and gets a suitable body the next time. So across those three lifetimes for Bharat Maharaj to Jada Bharat, his spiritual life was protected. Same for Indradumna Maharaj to Gajendra. His spiritual progress was protected. As a result, he could chant the prayers. And the same for Vitrasur. He was born as a demon, but he was one of the greatest devotees of the Lord. So it is actually not the material protection that we seek or the Lord provides. He actually provides spiritual protection only. In the sense, he will know what is good for our spiritual growth, and only in that way he would protect us. So if you see for Dhruva Maharaj, he cleared the material desire, but gave him the material opulence anyways. But for Arjuna, he killed Abhimanyu. He never came to protect Abhimanyu. So we see that sometimes Krishna protects, sometimes he does not. But if you see in context, once Dhruva Maharaj's desire was purified, Krishna knew that now he is deserving of the kingdom and also Dhruva Loka. In the sense, he would rule along with maintaining his spiritual progress, and as a result, the Lord gave him. Whereas for Arjuna, when Abhimanyu died, he came to the Pandavas and he started scolding them. Are all your weapons toys? You couldn't protect my son? Huh? You call yourselves warriors? He comes and scolds them. That time, Krishna comes and tells Arjuna that, Arjuna, how are you speaking to your brothers? Just look at them. They are so crestfallen that Abhimanyu passed away, and you are increasing their sadness by speaking like this. This is not befitting you. And Krishna used the opportunity of Abhimanyu's passing away to give Arjuna the lesson to increase the intensity of his fighting. And in that sense, Arjuna was able to fulfill what Krishna wanted out of him, to fight in the war and win in the war. So in that sense, if you see the Lord, whether he gives you or he does not give you, in both senses, he protects your spiritual progress, and he wants to tell you to give your all and to put deep absorption into all of the activities that we perform. So to summarize today's class, I would like to say that the Lord, he's so if we demand Krishna's protection on our own terms, we deprive ourselves of his best protection that he wishes for us. And he protects the spiritual progress of all of the devotees, and he himself claims abhayam. So Prabhupada says in the purport that if we are able to see what is the truth apart from what is distraction, in that sense we will not be fooled by the illusion of Maya, and in that sense we will be able to see and not be fearful. And then we saw what are the ways in which we can improve our focus and our depth of our attention towards the Lord, and that is to go deeper into prayers, as Maharaj said. Deeper into prayers, deeper into pastimes. The more deeper we go, the more we'll be able to recollect it when we need it the most. So when we see in the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells that buddhi nasha happens when lust overtakes a person, which means Maya attacks the memory first. When Maya attacks, the memory and remembrance of whatever verses we have read and everything, they will be put to test. See, Krishna does not, so even for anything worth having in this world, there's a high bar to attain. And the same is true for spiritual progress as well. Because when the real colors of a devotee are not shown when everything is going very well and they have all the time in the world to chant and then they're chanting, that is fine. That is actually very good. But the real test comes when nothing is going their way. And that is when the real bhakti is tested, whether whatever they've been saying and practicing till now, is it just superficial or is it really internalized? And that comes only through challenging times, temptations, and so many other scenarios. And that is the best way for us to show to the Lord that we have actually internalized what we are saying, what prayers we're making. So, with that, I would like to conclude today's class. Thank you, dear devotees. If you have any reflections, please, yes, Prabhu.
Thank you. Next one. Now you mentioned that when Krishna came down Gurula, that Krishna was in front of Gurula, and Gurula kind of caught up.
Oh, yeah, yes, Prabhu.
Is that Samprana or what is that?
So that is in a Sri Vaishnava commentary that I think one of the devotees quoted in their class, that the Lord Vishnu flew faster than Garuda, and Garuda had to keep up with him to come to protect Gajendra.
I was always trying to find a place where Krishna flies. In our books, there's no place where Krishna flies. So here's an instance where Krishna's flying.
Sorry. Faster than Garuda.
And Garuda is pretty fast.
Yes, yes.
Krishna must be fast flyer. Thank you for giving so many examples to in the story of Mother Yashoda chastising Krishna.
That was very nice. That it is out of love. She's angry, but still there is love in that anger. That was your pig in the last slide. So it's very intimate. Putna, he killed Putna. So it's very beautiful and intimate. I don't know how. I mean, as you rightly said, Kadam Kanan Maharaj says, unless we get that absorption, we won't be able to develop that love. And we need to develop that love by hearing about these stories. Like first devotees. Thank you. And how you nicely narrated Draupadi's first time, that was very beautiful. How Draupadi was trying to get protection from her husbands, and then Bhishma and Kripacharya, and how Kripacharya directed her to Krishna. Krishna came as a Vastra. So beautiful. Thank you. All right. Do we have
Adinath Prabhu and Rahul Prabhu.
There is
Is any reflection? Okay, sure. Thank you.
Vaishnav, you know.
Thank you, dear.